Welcome to the conversation. I'm Sydney Albright, your host for today. And today with me, I have a very special guest.
Hi.
This is Mr. Mike Brammer from the Pennsylvania FFA. And he's the executive director. I work with him a lot. And so let's get this conversation started. So how long have you been the executive director?
So I'm in my 24th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what exactly do you do as the executive director for the Pennsylvania FFA?
Sure. So that's a great question. We could talk for hours and hours about that. But basically anything that involves FFA in the state of Pennsylvania comes across my desk. So whether it's competitions or leadership conferences or applications for awards, you name it, if it's FFA in the state of Pennsylvania, it's on my desk.
All right, and you work with the state officers a lot?
I do. I get a chance to work with you and your teammates quite a bit. So that's my number one priority most of the time is working with the officers that we have, yes.
And then what is your favorite part of the job?
Boy, that's a great question. I don't know that I have one thing that's the great part of my job. First and foremost, probably seeing the state officers that I work with every year grow, and then seeing what you become once you're done with your year of service. The second part probably would have to be just watching our student members, the 16,000 members that we have in Pennsylvania, watching what they do and watching the growth that they have over their careers in FFA, and just watching what they become once they graduate from high school. So.
Yeah, you were talking about growth a lot, and you've been doing this for 24 years. Mm-hmm. How much growth have you seen from the PA FFA since you've started?
Quite a bit. When I first started, our total membership was hovering around the 8,000 mark. Today, we're a little over 16,000. We were around 140 chapters in the state of Pennsylvania. This year, we're chartering 6 new chapters, as you know. Coming up here in a little while. And so that'll put us at 164 chapters. So we're seeing a lot of growth, and there seems to be a lot of interest across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in ag education and in FFA.
And were you involved in FFA in high school?
I was. A long time ago. I'm a product of agricultural education. Took agriculture education classes when I was in high school and was an FFA member in the state of Virginia, and even got to serve as a state officer in Virginia. So,
what year were you a state officer?
I'm sorry?
What year were you a state officer?
A long time ago.
We did figure it out at Farm Bureau, but I don't remember.
We did. It was 1975, 76. So, long time ago.
Yeah. Right. And for members who may want to stay in FFA and work in it later in their life, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, that's a great question too, Sydney. I say it was kind of by accident, but I don't believe anything really happens by accident. I think there's a purpose for everything, and I think things happen for a reason. It's kind of a long story, but I'll make it as short as I can for your listeners. But when I was a product, or like I said, I was a product of ag education. When I was a state officer, I kind of realized at that point that I really wanted to stay involved in agriculture and agriculture education, and specifically the FFA. So my plan was to become an agriculture education teacher. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, and you have to go a different route. And that's what happened. I kind of went a different route. Became involved in some business companies that I worked for a while, and my wife and I were both products of ag education, but eventually had kids and moved to Pennsylvania. And while we were here, I actually had a daughter who became involved in agriculture education and FFA in her high school. And I got a phone call one day after helping the chapter with some different things throughout her career that this position was available, and I was asked.
And what made you want to move to Pennsylvania?
So when I originally moved to Pennsylvania, it was for work. I was working for a company in Virginia, and kind of had felt like I reached about as far as I could go up the corporate ladder, so to speak, and had an opportunity that was presented to us here in Pennsylvania, and we jumped at that chance to do that. So yeah, we moved to Pennsylvania to go to work for another company. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming out and having this conversation. And I do have a little gift for you for when we're done to say
Okay,
thank
great.
you. And signing off, this is Sydney Albright and Mr. Brammer.
Thank you.